In this part of our aviation coding training, we move on to the assembly section. Yes, the most important thing to pay attention to during assembly is placing the parts in the correct locations. For this, we place great importance on design when designing our unmanned aerial vehicle. For example, we should have planned the locations of these electronic speed controllers in advance to avoid major problems during the assembly phase. Yes, we will have an assembly diagram that moves from part to whole. For this, we will use an additive manufacturing technique. Now let's all simply determine the positions of our electronic speed controllers. I want to use one coming out from this part like this. I can use this hole more effectively like this, but as you can see, when I place it here, there's an issue in this section. I'm removing this part and placing it in a more effective way. Yes, when I place it like this, it provides the necessary electricity to the motor here. Now let's also... Aha! Now I'm supplying power to the motor here from the controller over there. To use this design more effectively, I'll temporarily secure it with tape. Yes, I will use tape to secure the electronic speed controllers in place to ensure they don't move. Electronic speed controllers allow us to determine the directions and speeds of the motors in unmanned aerial vehicles. This way, we can control the motors as we wish. We can also refer to them as the brains of the motors, the electronic speed controllers. Of course, the organ that will provide the signal to the electronic speed controllers is our flight control computer. The position of our flight control computer is very important. We will address this in upcoming assembly videos, but that's not our topic right now. After temporarily assembling it, it now looks something like this. Now if I flip it over, yes, on this bottom part, I will connect these outputs to my power distribution module to get a single output. By integrating this output with the PMO2 power distribution module, I can transfer the energy from the battery to my flight control computer through this channel. Using this channel, I can also transfer power to my ESCs along with my power module. Now let's proceed with the assembly of this part. First, these outputs need to be connected here. For that, I have split these two equal parts for now. Let me provide an output to these parts from here. Let's provide an output here as well. All right, let's proceed with the assembly. Let's gently attach the connectors. We've made this connection to this connector. Let's not make this connection to this connector, because the connector we've attached here isn't supported by a cable thick enough to handle the current. It's a section specifically reserved for parts that require less electricity. We will cover this in more detail later in the video. Prefer the output equipped with a relatively thicker cable. Okay, now when I open it again, I choose the output closer to that spot and do my installation there. Very nice. I'm doing this assembly for you here. As you can see, I'm not connecting this yellow heat shrink to any ESC with the relatively older cable. Let's continue. I'm connecting those with the connectors that are closer to their positions. Very nice. I've made all the connections. There's no clutter on the top side. Now I need to place the bottom part nicely with these components here. For that, let's determine their positions. As you can see, we've made the cables a bit longer than usual. For this, we might face a minor issue here, but it's not a problem for us at the moment. Maybe we'll solve this issue in the upcoming minutes. As you can see, we planned this kind of arrangement. Then we'll secure our power distribution module here. But before that, let's temporarily fix these components. For this, I will use tape again. The reason I'm not using zip ties is that zip ties are made of a hard material and are more expensive compared to paper tape, so I don't prefer them. I will use zip ties to secure materials whose positions are finalized. Until then, I will rely on this electrical tape. We have completed the assembly here, yes? When we go back to the 3 sections, we can see that the parts haven't moved and are fixed very nicely, just as we wanted. Now let's continue from where we left off at the bottom section. Let's connect the module that will power our flight control computer. Let's connect this socket here with the socket over there. Very good. After connecting the connectors, let's place this piece in this position. While manufacturing, another important thing to pay attention to is the screw holes we will use later. Yes, great. We have completed the assembly of the lower part. We can power our flight control computer with the energy from the battery using this PMS-02 module, and at the same time we can distribute the energy from the battery to our ESCs, and additionally we have an extra power supply section. When you return to the upper part, a very simple, very clean, usable area greets us, which is exactly what we wanted. When we look at it, we haven't blocked any of our mounting holes. This will provide us with significant advantages in the future. We haven't mounted the signal inputs of our electronic speed controllers anywhere, which is also beneficial for us. Now, the only thing left to do, and the most important thing, is to complete our process in this video. In the upcoming videos, we will continue by connecting the motors to the arms of the electronic speed controllers and then securing these motors to the body. Stay tuned.